Hey guys, this is Candle, and welcome to MYST Masterpiece Edition. This will be the third time I've LP'd this game, though not this specific version. Previously I'd done the Real MYST and Real MYST Masterpiece versions, and this will actually also probably be the final time I do this as well, because there's not enough of a difference between MYST Classic and MYST Masterpiece Edition to warrant really going back to MYST Classic. Basically what happened was MYST Masterpiece just took everything from the original MYST, put it in a slightly higher resolution. It's now 480p instead of, I think, 240 or 360. I don't quite remember, but it was originally like 640 by 480. Though we have this different aspect ratio now for the conversion here, and it also had a higher color depth, so like more colors and such like that. Beyond that, then came the I want to say 2007 complete remake in real time called Real MYST, which actually lets you wander around freely. And then in 2015, that got a remake in the Real MYST Masterpiece Edition. So we're probably going to breeze through this fairly quickly. I don't expect this to take much more than a week or so to get all the videos up online. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing MYST Classic. There's just not enough reason to go back to it compared to MYST Masterpiece or even Real MYST Masterpiece. Honestly, I think that is like the best version to do, but this does have like the original presentation and everything. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. I don't think there are any subtitles, so I will shut up when they're talking.
I realized the moment I fell into the fissure that the book would not be destroyed as I had planned. It continued falling into that starry expanse of which I had only a fleeting glimpse. I've tried to speculate where it might have landed. I must admit, however, such conjecture is futile. Still, questions about whose hands might one day hold my MYST book are unsettling to me. I know my apprehensions might never be allayed, and so I close, realizing that perhaps the ending has not yet been written.
All right. So a nice mysterious introduction for the world of MYST. And this world is very unique in the fact that it has these books that are called linking books, and they will actually... Come on, there we go. Why is it not loading correctly? Ah, there we go. So yes, these books will actually link you to different ages, basically different worlds entirely, different dimensions. And the first one we get sends us to the Isle of MYST, which is basically the hub of the game. For those who are unaware, MYST is a first-person point-and-click adventure game with some light puzzle solving. It's mostly atmosphere and ambience, mostly environmental storytelling and such. But you just click on the portal and it warps you directly there. So here we are. Welcome to the docks of MYST. And you have your cursor here, which tells you which way you can go. Like you can see there's a ship here that's underwater. And you got something here, which we can go into and take a look real quick. Now, interesting is the way to access Rhyme is actually on the back side of this. But in MYST Classic and MYST Masterpiece Edition, since you can't freely walk, you are locked, or freely move around, you are locked to the specific camera angles they give you, which means you can't actually go behind this in these versions, which means, you know, the access for Rhyme is still technically canon, because, I mean, it's technically there, hidden from view, you just don't know it's there. But here we have a little display here, which tells us, so we got 40, 67, and 47. It's already at 67, which is the water test. Here we have another one. I think this is, yeah, this is the marker switch diagram. So yeah, this is a holographic table here. Press the button, it activates. So now you can see what a marker switch is. It's a marker switch diagram. All right. So let's go back here to show the topographical extrusion test, which is number 40. And now, as far as I'm aware, this does not actually show you any real topography. Yeah, it's just that, basically. You know, it's nothing that's real to any of the MYST games. but it's a nice little thing. So MYST has a lot of like little interactive elements here that don't really add much to anything. Like here's the marker switch. Let's go ahead and turn that on. We basically want to run around and turn all these on right now and keep a count of them. So that's 2 of them. Hold on a second. Let's do transitions enabled. There we go. Oh, that's a little bit better. All right, so there's a little something here. Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our forechamber beside the dock. That's where we just were. Enter the number of marker switches on the island into the imager to retrieve the message. Yours, Atris. Atris, by the way, is the guy who was talking in that intro. So that's 3. And we have a little planetarium in here, although it's got a little dentist chair to begin with, which is weird, but what can I say? So here we have the library, and this is the main hub of the game, but we're not quite ready for this yet. All right, let's go this way. There we go, that's 4. All right. Can we actually go down here? Because the way to actually get into Rhyme is... it won't let you go so far. Okay. Can I turn around? No. Okay. If I can turn around here. Oop, too far. So the way to get into Rhyme is technically like right in this pillar here is where you unlock the book for Rhyme. But you need like the other way, the other thing in order to activate it, in order to open that up. But we can't do that. So let's keep exploring. Oh, we got another marker switch here. So that's 5. I want to say there's either like 8 or 11. I can't really remember. That one's 6. All right, there's 1 across here that we can't get to yet. That one's 7. And there should be, yep, 1 more in here. So that is 8. All right. So let's go see if we can't figure out what that message is about. I am fairly familiar with this game, so we should be able to breeze through it pretty quickly. Like I said, it's not going to take much more than a week or so, I don't think, in order to get through this game. A week's worth of videos, I mean. Should only take me a couple hours. Alright, so let's go down to 0. Oh, that doesn't wrap around. Up to 8. Is that correct? One way to find out.
Catherine, my love, I have to leave quickly. Something terrible has happened. It's hard for me to believe. Most of my books have been destroyed. Catherine, it's one of our sons. I suspect Achenar, but I shouldn't leap to conclusions. I'll find him and Cirrus as well. I should have known better than to have left my library unchecked for so long. Well, I've removed the remaining undamaged books from the library and placed them in their places of protection. You shouldn't have to use the books until I return. But if you've forgotten the access keys, remember the tower rotation. Oh, and don't worry, Catherine. Everything will be fine. I'll see you shortly. Oh, wait. And erase this message after you viewed it, just to be safe.
All right, so everything he just said is extremely important, even down to the erase this message once you've seen it. It hasn't been erased. Clearly, Catherine hasn't seen it yet because we are not Catherine. We are actually an unknown or unnamed character simply called the player. And so Atris was talking about a disaster in his library where books were destroyed by their sons. And you can see right here, a whole bunch of these books are charred. Now, these are a mixture of, these are mostly pretty much all Atris's journals. However, he did also store the actual linking books in here as well. There were a few that are undamaged. And luckily for us, the appropriate journals for each of those ages are undamaged as well. So, you know, each of these books here are for a specific one. And Atris is a descendant of a people called the Dunny. And the Dunny are a race of not quite human, but basically humans who I believe are originally from another planet. However, they ended up living in this giant underground city beneath the Mojave Desert, I believe. And it was this large cavernous city, and they had developed what was called the art, which is a special way of writing books that basically contain rule sets, for creating new dimensions, and then using linking books in order to travel back and forth between those dimensions. Atris is not a good father. I'll say that straight up. He is a terrible father, and to his credit, he did not really have a good father figure growing up. Atris was largely raised by his grandmother up until he was like 12 or so. Then his father came by and stole Atris away, took him all the way down to the ruins of Dunny, and taught him the art. But basically, Atris's father, again, just wanted, somebody to pass this knowledge on to, and didn't really care so much about raising Atris as a proper son. But taking a look around the library here, we have, the books themselves. We also have a couple paintings here, one of the bookshelves opening up a passageway and one of an open door. We also have a blue book over here. We have a fireplace. We have the exit. We have a map, which actually shows us the island. Believe it or not, the marker switches pop things up on here. That's why you don't see like the clock tower down here, is because we haven't flipped that switch on yet because we can't get to it. And then you also have a red book here. And the red and blue book basically hold the story. If you just go into it without putting a page in, it's just static. Eventually it'll end, but this is just static right now. You got to actually put the page in, and now you get a message. All right, so that one is over. That was Cirrus, who is one of Atris's sons, and he's trapped in this book, and he wants us to bring more red pages so we can free him. Fun fact, MYST was developed by a team of 7 people, and the 2 chief designers were a pair of brothers, Rand and Robin Miller. And that was actually Robin Miller right there playing Cirrus, and Rand Miller plays both Atris and Akinar, who is the other brother here in the blue book.
Pages. Never. Pages. I must have the blue page. Hand to me.
All right, so that was Akinar. So again, it's the same basic deal. He's trapped in the book here, and we have to bring him the blue pages. Now, the unfortunate thing is MYST does not have an inventory system. So when you pick up a page, you can only carry one at a time, which means since the pages are scattered around in the various ages, that well, you basically have to make 2 trips if you want to do if you want to 100% complete this game. Now, remember what Atris said in his message. Remember the tower rotation. This is actually how you do that. You hold here until the line turns red, and that will give you... You can even hear the tower rotating, but that will give you the access keys in order to get into that age. Then you got to come over here and click this, and that will cause a secret passage to open up, leading back to the tower. And from the tower, we have an elevator. And you have to actually close the door or it won't work. Alright, up we go. We are going to be visiting the ages in a specific order. Basically, it's my preferred order, and it's basically whatever comes up first in the tower rotation thing on the map. Which, speaking of which, there should be a map. Let's go options. Yeah, show map. So there's actually a map included in the Masterpiece Edition. I don't think this is included in the whatchamacallit, the Classic Edition. So here you can see the tower, that's where we are now. The sunken gear, that's actually access to the mechanical age. The sunken ship, including the stone ship book room. The dimensional imager, that's right there. Giant tree elevator, log cabin, clock tower, clock tower control box, and so on. Like, everything that's on the island is shown here. Oh, you got it. There we go. How do I turn that off? How do I resume? Okay, there we go. Never mind. So you've got 2 different things here. Whenever you click up to where it shows the book, that actually shows you like where the linking book is, the actual access point. Whereas the keys are back behind here. And it gives you a couple clues that basically you kind of need to know these in order to get in to each age, and it will be different based on each age because they're protected by puzzles. So we've got 240 and 221. Those are our ways in. So let us go back. Nice, quick and easy. So yeah, in Real MYST and Real MYST Masterpiece Edition, you do have to... It does slow you down a bit because you're moving freely for the most part. There's kind of a weird hybrid mode that allows you to point and click like the Classic, but if I want to play point and click version, I kind of prefer like the actual original, Classic and Masterpiece editions. So yes, we can't actually leave right now until we click this one. That will close up the passageway to the tower and open the door. Nice and quick and easy and hidden. And before we go open up the way to the mechanical age, let's actually read the journal here. Before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky here is dark and gray, and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. He is very feeble and has trouble even moving. This man has obviously been through many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He has told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post, expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of traveling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumors of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The people grew fearful, yet nothing happened. One day, the usually sunny sky became as dark as night, and black ships appeared on the horizon. The lookout post's attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries there were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumored that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable to save this civilization and stop this enemy's plan of destruction. I am excited about the adventure that awaits me, and have an idea that sparked in my mind to provide the needed defense for these people. I met the remaining survivors today, and I've begun work on a plan for protection. It shows us a little bit of a map here of the actual fortress in the Mechanical Age. After a short absence, I have returned to this age with my 2 sons. They have, as of yet, traveled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since Everdunes, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time, instead of the nuisance they have been in the past. All 3 of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We are building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I am very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see, as they work on some small projects of their own. It has been over 4 months now, and construction is going well. My sons love the world except for its gray sky. They detest the gray sky and tell me many times they wish the sky here were like the blue sky in MYST. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now only islands due to a rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress, I have designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I began experimenting with on my visits to Aspermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn how to use the fortress. The enemy is due to come here soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. So if we go back here, this is actually an overall map of MYST as well, or not MYST, the Mechanical Age. So we've got the 3 islands and the fortress in the center, which is actually startlingly small, which means this city must have been like hugely vertical city instead of spread out, because it's a fairly small area. The black ships have come. Their attack was substantial. Their weapons have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Last night we had a small celebration, and the old survivors danced their dances of old. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to the original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. I have had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe I have begun. But first, I will have an extended time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. I must also return to the people of the Tide. I believe in my travels I have found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments that they have long endured. I hope to return to Mechanical Age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I am confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. And there you have it. So that is the basic story of the Mechanical Age, which we are going to visit soon. But first, we have some clues. Oops, wrong way. We have to go down here. So we got the clue of 240, and that is for this. Big one. There we go. It should do it one more time. There we go. So that's at 40. All right. 2. There we go. That should work. Hit the button, and there is our bridge. All right, so we can finally flip that one on. And now we have a combination, 2-2-1. You hit the right lever, or sorry, the left lever, it turns the bottom 2. Hit the right lever, it turns the top 2. You got to try to convince them, or get the code to match. There's just one problem. Well, 2 problems. No matter how many times you spin these, it's not going to work, because you have a specific number of times you can actually move it. Once this counterweight hits the floor, it stops moving, and you have to reset the whole thing. This is probably the worst puzzle in the game, because this is probably the only puzzle that actually falls into moon logic territory, because there is a hidden feature here that it does not tell you. basically, let's put this on 1 at the bottom, and then put that 2, and then just hold. There we go. Perfect. And then that is your representation right there. The gear is open. You have to actually hold down one of the levers, and it will continue to spin the middle one. If you don't know about that, it's really tough to actually fall into that unless you accidentally like hold on it. But now that that is done, we can go over this way and see how this is open now. Here is our linking book to the mechanical age. Get a nice little flyby here of it. I love these things. But we can just click it and we get a much better, a high resolution of it. Although not all that high. I really wish this game ran in like 1024 by 768 instead of 640 by 480. Actually, it's running in Scum VM, so it's technically 1080p, but you know the game is stuck at 640 by 480, basically. All right, so this looks very familiar. It looks like we haven't even left until you actually back out. Boom, there we are. Now, normally, this is where Atris would normally have the linking book back to MYST. However, he kind of hid things. Basically, all these ages have become traps now, kind of like the red and blue books, except that there is indeed a way out. The actual linking book to MYST is in here, but you got to lower these stairs in order to get to it, which is what this is for. So the main gimmick of this... or the main thrust of each age is to find a way back to MYST and then find the pages and get back. So here is the, well, here's the fortress. So we got 2 different passages. Going down the left one takes us to Sirius's room. Every age has a specific room for both brothers. This is Sirius's room, and you can kind of get a sense for his character here. We've got a model of the rocket ship and a model of the ship. The sunken ship, and then a portrait of a lovely lady. It's never actually mentioned who this is. However, considering that Sirius also has a portrait of himself as a king, you can probably guess it's somebody he might be infatuated with. And taking a look at, and he even has a throne here which you can sit in. There is a telescope which lets you see things, and a model of the clock tower from MYST as well. These things just light up when you pass over them. This is not a puzzle. It's just something to interact with. And you'll find that in a lot of this stuff. Like, oh, shoot. Let's go over here. Like, this is something to interact with as well. You're going to wind it up. And it's a moving bird. It's a toy, basically. And then this, I think you can open this up. Maybe it's in Real MYST that you can open this up. Yeah, this isn't letting me open it up. I swear that you could, but maybe it's in Real MYST. And then there is also, notice how the floor is a little weird here, and the tapestry is a little weird? Well, if you click that, it opens up a hidden passage, or a hidden room. And this is Sirius's treasury. Oof. Sirius, your greed sickens me. Your desire for wealth and plunder is never satisfied. I will instruct my subjects not to pay your new tax, and you know they will listen to me. Regards, Akinar. So, yeah, Sirius is quite a bit greedy. You can see he loves the finer things, and this is actually where his page is in here as well. I believe Akinar's is in his. Which, if we go over here, this is Akinar's room. And you can see he much prefers the finer pleasures in life. So yeah, nice low poly snake. And he has his own little chair, but this is more of a torture room. Yeah, he has his own little throne here. It's more like an armory than anything else. And in fact, where Sirius had a treasury,